So today we are actually going to talk a little bit about the December Community Day. Some things that you should keep in mind and some things that you may want to look into and figure out how to maximize your Community Day, because my experience is going to be totally different from yours. I can already tell you that. Number one, prioritize. So there's going to be a lot going on for the Community Day weekend. Just think, there are 11 Pokemon total to be catching during that one weekend slot. There's a total of 58 hours that the Community Day event is going to be live. So while you do have plenty of time management is a thing that you need to take into consideration. I will be prioritizing Larvitar, Beldum, and Dratini mainly. Now, I would love a shiny Bulbasaur. I would love a shiny Charmander. I would love a shiny Squirtle. I will be looking for those, but those are not going to be my top priority. Out of all of the Community Day Pokemon here, I have 4 out of 11 shinies that I need. Prioritize what you need. If you are definitely pushing for meta-relevant Pokemon, then you might want to take a look at what you're short on, whether it be Larvitars for Tyrannitars, Beldums for Metagross, or Dratinis for Dragonite. Try and figure out what you need as a player so that you can maximize your accomplishments during the week. Number 2, prepare or fail. The next thing is to prepare. You do have a full week as of this video coming out, and there's a few things that I would definitely recommend before the Community Day even starts. Pokemon storage, you might need that. I am currently sitting at 283 out of 400. That doesn't leave a lot of headroom to really be catching things. Pokemon storage is definitely going to be a big deal, because if you run out of storage during this event, you're going to have to really start getting rid of things that you may want to hold on to, that may have sentimental value, or whatever it is. You may want to go ahead and try to prepare to have the space instead of not having the space. The next thing is actually bag space. You might actually want to consider buying some more bag space. The fact that you're going to be running through so many Pokeballs and so many Pineaps and Golden Razzes or whatever it is, you might actually want to have some extra space stored up for that, so that this weekend, whenever it happens, you don't run out of Pokeballs, you don't run out of berries. Rolling back to step 1, I definitely am going to be prioritizing Pineaps, because my Dratinis, my Larvitars, and my Beldums, I don't have hardly any candies. Larvitar's the only one, but that's just because I've been working towards a Tyranitar for a while and I almost have enough candies. So I will definitely be Pineapping almost everything that I can, and if it's a Beldum, Dratini, or a Larvitar, probably going to be Pineapped and Ultra Ball, just because I know that I want the candies, I need the candies. So I'm definitely going to try to prioritize getting candies for them. And if I encounter a shiny one of those, then it will probably more than likely get a Golden Razz and just a regular Pokeball, but having more item space is not going to be a bad thing, and it's definitely something to consider. Another thing to try to consider is trading. Trading is going to be very helpful if you care about your Stardust, if you care about having lucky Pokemon at all, then trading is going to be a good thing to go ahead and have set up. Between my brother and Walden, we have a pretty good trading system. We all will just trade whatever to try to guarantee ourselves a lucky. My brother still has Pokemon from 2016, so I know that he really wants a lucky shiny Beldum. For this weekend, I will have no problem giving him a shiny Beldum and giving it to him for a 2016 Pokemon. I currently don't have any 2016s, so is what it is. It's all good. He can have it. Number 3, the 3-hour event. The 3-hour event is going to be a specific time depending on your region. For the Americas at least, it's going to be from December 1st at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that makes it on the East Coast, that would be from 2 to 5. So the big deal during this event is actually going to be your 2 times Stardust, your 2 times Catch XP, and your 2 times Hatching Speed. Here again, it would also be important to go ahead and buy up some super incubators, hold on to some lucky eggs, and use those star pieces during this 3-hour event. I fully expect a huge box to be in the shop that has Plenty of star pieces, plenty of lucky eggs, and plenty of incubators. Now, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the Pokemon and their relevancy. Tyranitar seems to be, as a consensus, the most relevant out of anybody. His best moveset being Smackdown and Stone Edge. He does 14.405 DPS. Now, he's basically going to hold down a really good spot as far as rock type goes for quite a while. We do have Rampardos in Gen 4, and he will be very good, but it kind of depends on his moveset and if they change it, because we did see them change a couple of things right before some Gen 4 was released, and it kind of messed with their moveset. Of course, his best moveset being a rock type, he is still a great dark attacker. If you do want to invest in that, you will have plenty of time during the weekend, and I'm sure you'll catch plenty of Larvitar to actually get a hold of some decent dark attackers. For me, my personal thing is I keep 3 of a single moveset and then I'm done. If I get 3 Smackdown Stone Age Tyranitars, I would probably hold off. That's just me personally. Some people like to keep 6 of them. Some people like to keep 9 of them. I personally just do 3. That's just my personal preference there. But dark type attacking Tyranitar is definitely great. He is not a bad investment whatsoever. Next is Metagross. Metagross does have the highest DPS out of anybody featured during this community day, with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash being his best moveset, of course. Having a shiny Metagross that has decent IVs will definitely be worth it. Like I said, I will more than likely give one of those to my brother so he can max it out and love it for the rest of his life. Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash does 17.983 DPS. Like I said, that is the highest out of all of the Pokemon featured during this Community Day weekend. Venusaur is on the list for 3rd most relevant. Evolving him during the Community Day will actually get you Frenzy Plant, and Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant turns out to be his best moveset, which is 14.782 DPS. He does end up being the best grass attacker. Even with Gen 4 being released, he doesn't get dethroned very much. His TDO is really high compared to a lot of their grass type. Even though Roserade does pull out just a tiny bit more DPS, it's going to die way faster. So even though the DPS is higher, your total damage output is not going to be anywhere near comparable. Charizard is actually the 4th on the list. Blast Burn being the Community Day move. Fire Spin and Blast Burn does 15.875 DPS. So he's definitely up there as well. Next, we'll go through the next 2 categories being less relevant and then not relevant at all. Dragonite is actually super not relevant. I think mainly they're putting that in this list only because Rayquaza is a thing. Rayquaza does outclass Dragonite on a lot of fronts. Draco Meteor being the Community Day move for Dragonite, it's not really that great. It doesn't do quite as much DPS as Outrage, so the best moveset for him is actually going to be Dragon Tail and Outrage, pushing 17.229 DPS. And Dragonite is quite bulky, so he actually has a pretty high TDO, which makes him definitely a good dragon attacker in my opinion. He just does get classed out by Rayquaza. Blastoise is next, being Water Gun and Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon does do a lot of DPS, but there again, Kyogre does do a lot better, and Gyarados actually does quite well in terms of water DPS as well. So Blastoise pushing 12.903 DPS doesn't really put him super high up there. Meganium getting Frenzy Plant does actually increase it quite a bit, but still his DPS is only 12.729, so it doesn't really put him up very high either. Typhlosion, which of course we just went through during the beginning of November. Blast Burn, we talked a little bit about. Ember and Blast Burn here do 15.166 DPS. Ampharos does get the charge move Dragon Pulse, which actually doesn't really help him much. His best moveset actually is Charge Beam and Zap Cannon, which only pushes 11.881 DPS, especially since Raikou and Zapdos can really out DPS it. Pikachu as well, being a Community Day, so weird. He got Surf. Surf just doesn't really do much because Surf is a water type move, so it has no stab. Pikachu's best move set, of course, is going to be Thunder Shock and Wild Charge, only doing 8.366 DPS. So really, I wouldn't prioritize Pikachu unless you just really have to have Pikachu. Then the evolutions. Okay, so this is one that, even though it's not relevant at all as far as meta goes, they're still kind of important. because we do have Glaceon and we have Leafeon coming up in Gen 4, so you might want to kind of prioritize them if you really do want shiny versions of those. I currently don't have any shinies of any evolution, so any one that I can get would be great. I just really want the shiny Umbreon. That's the only one I really like. The best moveset for Vaporeon is going to be Water Gun and Hydro Pump. Best moveset for Jolteon is Thundershock and Thunderbolt. Flareon, Fire Spin and Overheat. Espeon, Confusion, Future Sight. Umbreon, Snarl, and Foul Play. The highest DPS out of all of those is actually Flareon, pushing 15.724, and Flareon is actually like 3rd or 4th depending on where you put Charizard on the fire moveset DPS, so they're okay. They're just not really like super relevant. Eevee would get the move Last Resort. It still doesn't really do a whole lot, considering whenever you evolve it, it just gets rid of that move. The last thing on the list is if you're really trying to push for a specific Pokemon, you don't really have a whole lot of control over the weather, but depending on what weather we do have during that weekend for the community day, you could get lucky. Windy weather, probably not going to happen very much, but hopefully the weather works with what you are shooting for. If you really, really want a good Mareep, then hopefully it's raining. If you're really wanting a good Larvitar for Tyrannotars, then hopefully it's partly cloudy. You know, hopefully the weather will work out, but also try to pay attention to that, because if it does get to be rainy, I will definitely be more willing to check out the Mareeps, because a weather boosted shiny Mareep is probably going to have decent IVs, and there's no problem in trying to get decent IV Pokemon, period. Hopefully you guys are getting prepared for the gigantic community day that is going to be happening this weekend. Well, I keep saying this weekend, but it's really from November 30th to the December 2nd. So hopefully you guys are getting prepared. If you guys have any recommendations on things that I should be also preparing for, make sure you leave them down in the comments below. I really do enjoy seeing your guys' recommendations. The last thing that I really want to tell you, shiny Alolan Raichu is officially in raids. It'll actually, be on this side? It'll be on this side, yeah. So check that out. He looks like a freaking piece of chocolate. I don't know. He looks weird. I'm not really a fan of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like the video, make sure you hit that button. If you want to leave me a comment, let me know what you have to say down below. Until Monday, guys, I will see you later. And don't forget, do not forget, today is the last day to enter for the poster. So go over to Twitter, do that. I'll announce that on Monday because it's going to run until 11:59 for Friday. So go do that now. Bye guys. See you next week.